In this presentation, we will take a look at multiple choice questions related to governmental accounting, going through those questions and then practicing test-taking skills with them. First question, interfund transfers in account would be classified in the general fund statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances as either A, revenue, B, other financing use, C, other financing source, or D, current asset. Let's go through this again using the process of elimination. Interfund transfers in account would be classified in a general fund statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances, in essence the income statement type account, as either A, revenues, versus the other financing uses and other financing sources. Now, of these four answers, D is a balance sheet account, so that doesn't seem like that's going to be the one. And then we have revenue, which you would think that seems like it would be grouping there. However, it seems like it's going to be a transfer of some kind. So this other financing use or source look like the items that are between those two. They're also very similar in nature, and therefore oftentimes they're going to be the ones that it's going to come down to if you see some similarities such as that. So is it another financing use or another financing source? And if it's a transfer in, then we're going to think it's an other financing source. Final answer, C, interfund transfers in account would be classified in the general fund statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances as C, other financing source. Next question. If recording the budget and estimated revenues exceed appropriations, A, budgetary fund balance is credited, B, budgetary fund balance is debited, C, encumbrances outstanding is credited, and D, encumbrances outstanding is debited. So let's go through this again using the process of elimination. If recording the budget and estimated revenues exceeds appropriations, what are we going to do? Now we have to think of the journal entry for recording the budget. So that's a little bit funny in and of itself. We're going to record the budgetary accounts. And then we got to think about, which account's going to be basically the plug type of journal entry, which is going to go to the equity kind of account. So I would post this journal entry out. I would actually post it, and then you think about the debits and credits. So we're recording the budget. When we record the budget, typically we are going to put the estimated revenues on the books. Revenue has a credit balance, therefore estimated revenue is going to have a debit balance. So estimated revenue. So recording the budget and estimated revenues exceed appropriations. So let's make a revenue, estimated revenue is $100, let's say, just for a number that's going to be greater than the appropriations. And then the appropriations is going to be the expense related budgetary account that we record when we first record this. It's going to be sloppy, but that's okay. It's going to be 80, I'm going to say. I'm just going to make up a number, because this will help us to basically record this item and think through it. The difference thing would be a necessary credit. So we're going to say it's going to be a credit then. So if we look through these, we're going to say, it's not going to be B then, because that's a debit. And it's not going to be B or D, because that's a debit. It's going to be between A and Z, which are the two credits. And of the two, is it an encumbrance outstanding on the other side, or is it budgetary fund balances? Those are two kind of equity type section type of accounts. If it was a for-profit organization that we put funny things to, what we would think of as kind of funny for a for-profit situation, depending on different reasons, the encumbrances, when we record the encumbrances, and that's kind of the next step of recording the appropriations, it's not used when we first record the budget. The one we're looking for is the budgetary fund balance, which would make sense. That's kind of like the equity account that we would think of the name for if we were going to make one up to post the budget, which is going to be a credit to the budgetary fund balance. So that's going to be the credit. Final answer A. If recording the budget and estimated revenues exceed appropriations, A, budgetary fund balance then is credited. Next question. For modified accrual basis of accounting, expenditures recognized when either A, they are paid, B, an obligation is incurred that will be paid from currently available financial resources, C, they are incurred, or D, they are approved. Let's go through this again using the process of elimination. For modified accrual basis, so accrual basis modified now, of accounting, expenditures recognized when. And notice whenever we think of modified accrual, typically it's somewhere between a cash and accrual basis. Those are kind of the endpoints Everything else usually is kind of, somewhere between those two endpoints. So either A, when they are paid, that would be on the far end on the cash basis, and we're on the modified accrual basis, so it's not necessarily when they're paid typically. B says an obligation is incurred that will be paid from the currently available financial resources. Now, when we see a very long kind of definitional type of answer, especially when we're considering governmental accounting, which is more long-winded typically, then, that might be it, because that's the one that they're trying to eliminate every other answer and be kind of precise with. So I'm kind of thinking that sounds like it could be it, and it's kind of got a very definitional type of feel to it, so I'm going to keep that one for now. And then C says when they're incurred, and that would be similar to kind of the accrual method. So we might say, see, that sounds like an accrual type method. And so I would be closer to the accrual than the cash, probably with a modified accrual. And then D says they are approved. And so that could be another step, another process when they're approved. But is that when they're recorded? I think it's between B and C. And of the two, I think the definitional one is going to be our final answer. B, that's the one I would go for. Final answer. For modified accrual basis of accounting, expenditures recognized when B, an obligation is incurred that will be paid from the currently available financial resources. Next question. Appropriations of a governmental fund is credited when either A, the budgetary accounts are closed, B, expenditures are recorded, C, supplies are purchased, or D, the budget is recorded. We'll go through this again using the process of elimination. Appropriations of a governmental fund is credited when, so we have to first know what appropriations are. How are we going to record appropriations? What makes them go up and down? Appropriations are going to be the budgetary account that's going to be the complement of the expenses or expenditure type of account. So expenses, expenditures, similar to expenses, have a debit balance, and therefore the budgetary related account, appropriations, is going to have a credit balance. And typically the appropriations is going to go up when we record the budget. So we're going to credit it when we record the budget. So appropriations of the governmental fund is credited when, that's when it's going to go up when we credit it. A, the budgetary accounts are closed. So that's the other, this only really gets affected if there's an adjustment or at the beginning when we post the budget, or at the end when we close the budget. So those are the two kind of components, the two kind of sections. And then B says that's when they go up and down. B says expenditures are recorded. Now, when the expenditures, those are the actual expense type items, we don't reduce the appropriations, although we do reduce the encumbrances. So it's not going to be when the expenditures are recorded. That doesn't affect the appropriations. C says supplies are purchased. Again, that might be something that triggers like an expenditure type of activity or appropriation, but it doesn't, or the encumbrances has nothing to do with the appropriations, however, which are just going to be hanging out on the books as the budgetary account or the main budgetary account related to expenses, expenditures. And then D says the budget is recorded. So between A and D, those are the two times the appropriations are generally moving. Right? There's going to be an effect on them. When you record the budget, they're going to go up. When you close the budget out, it's going to go down, the beginning and the end of the period. And we said that the appropriations has a credit balance, so it's going to go up when we record the budget. That happens at the... So the answer then is going to be D, the budget is recorded.